Hi everyone. I've had a few requests asking to show how I create my stickers for my Hobonichi Cousin, and this really can be applied to any planner. You can use either Silhouette Studio, which is the program that I use because I do have a silhouette. You can use Cricut. You can also use PowerPoint if that's something that you are comfortable with. It just kind of depends on what you're doing. I pretty much just set all of this up, and then once I get it done, I print it on clear sticker paper and then I put it into my planner. Now initially I was doing each column by themselves and having it cut out that way, but I've kind of changed that up recently where I have it cutting two columns side by side. So this gray line is just a guideline to let me know where the columns actually split. So for this, what you can do is you can get your clip art pretty much anywhere. There is clip art available through the store for Silhouette, and you can also purchase clip art through Etsy, or there's a couple of other places that you can purchase them through. But really what you want to make sure that you're doing is you want to make sure that you're getting your individual images so that you can move them around and kind of manipulate everything to where you want it to be. In regards to the different fonts that I have here, I just went to a font website and just downloaded the fonts. Now the thing is, you're going to have to go in, and if you want all of these fonts, you're going to have to go in and you're going to have to find them. The one thing that I can tell you is when you put in a font or a text box, it's going to automatically default to the Arial. And then from there, you're going to have to make your selection of what you want your font to be. And then once you get that selected, you should be able to... Nope, let me try that again. You should be able to just highlight and then change that so that it'll show up this way. Now in Silhouette, it's going to show you the font like this. If you don't want it to cut out and you want to actually have letters, you have to first go in and select the color that you want the letters to be, and then you'll need to go in here and you'll need to remove the outline, and then you have your font. You can change the font size two different ways. Here you can do it through the drop down, and you can see it's 9 here, or once you get it typed out, you can manipulate it this way as well. So it's a couple of different methods. And on some of these, I'm just going to pull this over here, I've used different fonts for different parts of this. I recommend, figuring out what quote you want and kind of how you want it to look. I like to use different styles of font within one saying. So if you want it to all be the same, you definitely can do that. If you want it to be different, you can definitely do that as well. So when it comes to putting all of this together, I just go ahead and when I have this set up, I've measured my columns in my Cousin, and I use millimeters because for me, it's just so much easier and a lot less brain work when you're trying to set these things up. So for 2 columns, it's 68 millimeters across, and it's 188 millimeters tall. So one column is going to be 34 millimeters wide. And so I have those 4 columns here, but the red is where my cut is going to occur. Now, if you want to do this, say in PowerPoint or anything like that, you can definitely do that. And then you can just cut the strips out by hand. So you don't even have to have a machine to do this. You can just print it out, and you can definitely just cut it by hand. It just depends on, you know, what you're comfortable with. And I will show you real quick. I have a graphic. Let's see. So let's just say we want a mailbox, and you just want an image, and then you want it to be like just a line drawing. You can do line art. And then you can go in and you can either purchase these, or you can just do a copy paste, and it should bring it in for you. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll do a save as image, and then I'll just throw it on my desktop and save that image there. So then that way I have it. And then once I have my image, I can just drag it. You don't want to have it go over your any of your columns here, because it will feed in there, as you just saw when I was dragging it across. And then you also want to be careful, because if you're dragging it across the wording, it will change that to whatever image you're utilizing. So just to kind of keep that in mind. I've done that several times. So here you're just going to go ahead and you're going to have your image. Now, for personal use, this is fine. Do not just grab something. You want to make sure that you are following the guidelines and the laws for clip art if you're selling it via whatever platform you want to do. But since this is just personal use and I'm not selling it, this is okay to do. What we're going to do is we are going to select our trace tool here, and we're just going to trace the object. And then I always like to dial up the threshold a little bit, and then you're going to do a trace and detach, click outside of your object, and then your object is right there. Everything is going to be cut out, and then you can either do what they call a kiss cut. You'll do an offset, which is the little star right here. There also, some of these are also up here, so you can do an offset and turn it into an actual sticker if you have the Silhouette program and the machine. You can do that, but I really am liking how clean everything is when I just put it in here. So if I move this mailbox, I can actually resize it, and then I can come in here and, you know, you can either add it in, or you can do a duplicate, and then you can take this here and you can just type in your information there that you want, and you can manipulate the size. You can also change the justification of it if you want that centered. To change the color of your font, you just simply go up here and you're going to pick a font that you want to change it to, and then the font will change. You won't be able to do that on the image. If you want a different image, or if you want a color image, you would have to go ahead and select that. But once you get your images set up, what I do is I put it in what I call my masters. And my masters has everything. I just have like a variety of doom scrolling, and these are all images or clip art that I've actually created. So I have, you know, all of these little girls here for dishes. So if I'm doing dishes, that way you don't have to have the same picture for every single one. You can do different pictures for different things, or different pictures for the same thing. So I'm going to back this out here. You can really kind of create anything that you want to go into this here. I believe I usually get my fonts from, I think it's 1001 Fonts. Sorry about that. Okay, so I do just go to 1001 Fonts, and then you can go in and you can do signature or handwriting, or, you know, elegant, just kind of whatever you want. If you want a variety, or a specific variety of font, you can whittle it down. You can also, you know, just make it one specific one. If you know, want to go ahead and do, say, we want to do handwriting. So I just come over here and I do handwritten. And a lot of times the signature and the handwritten are going to be the same, but you just find the fonts that you like, and then you can download them. And then once you download them, you'll have to go in and install them on your computer. And what I do is, as soon as I download it, I'm going to go in and I'm going to actually put it in. I have an Excel spreadsheet, and I just changed computers, so I'm not exactly for sure where I have it. But I have an Excel spreadsheet that I'll type that in. And then once you download the font, you will need to restart the program that you're in, because it will not automatically populate into your current item that you're working on. So you will have to exit out, and then you'll have to go back in, and then from there you will need to rename it, like what we did here for bangers. Let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, so I do have a font index. So once I do get them loaded, I just go ahead and I put so I want the Amsterdam, and so I'm just going to insert, and then once I download the Amsterdam font, and I actually save it to a different drive. Give me just a second here. Okay, so then I'll go in, and once I have the Amsterdam handwriting open, I'm just going to double click. I'm going to install, and then close that out. And this font, like I said before, as you can see, it's not loaded. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click save, and I'm going to close this, and then I am going to reopen it. And once you come in here, you can do, and it will show you the font, and then you can actually go in and put it, once you've saved it, you can actually go and put it in to your Silhouette program. But just remember, you have to actually close everything and then load or reload the project, so then that way you can actually have that font available to you. I just put these in individually, so then that way if I have one that I want to use, I can just duplicate it, and then I can just drag it wherever I want. I can change the color, I can change the size, however I want to do that. I'm not quite sure if you guys need any other pieces of information. One thing that I do like to do is I like to add little stars and whatnot, and I've added my check marks and things like this. But with the shapes, you can actually just get those right over here. You can add in a shape if you want, and then you can make it a specific color, just like you did for the font. And another really cool thing that I think is that's available is you can add shadowing and things like that to your, I have to remember exactly where this is at. Here it is. Okay, so it's under image effects, and then you can do different types of shadowing, and you can offset it however you like, and you can also play with the transparency or the opacity, and it will keep the shadow with your item. So if you want a shadow behind a particular shape, you can definitely do that. You can see here I did it with the star, or excuse me, with the hearts, but not with the stars. So it just kind of depends on what you want to do and how you want to decorate it. They have a variety of different shapes. You can also download shapes if you want to. It just kind of depends on what you're going to use it for, how you want to use it. But for these little to-do lists, I just have, this is just a box that I have here. I have it kind of pre-set in there, and then I can just go in and add in things. Hopefully that gives you guys a pretty good overview of everything that you would need to know to get this set up. And like I said, it's, you can set it up pretty much in any program. Word is not going to work because you're going to want to be able to move things around the page like this. So PowerPoint is definitely a really good option. You can use Canva if you wanted to. If you don't want to buy Canva and you don't have PowerPoint, you can always use OpenOffice. And I believe that's a free version that you can go in there and you can create things like this. So if you guys have any other questions, please let me know down below, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and have a great day.